I used to see cardigans as the safe choice. You toss one on, hope it hides a bit, and move on. The truth is, the wrong cardigan can swallow your shape, drag the whole look down, and even add years you never asked for. The good news? With a few smart swaps, yes, even with pieces you already own, you can go from looking hidden to looking intentional. 1. The wrong length. What completely shifted my perspective was realizing that the length of a cardigan has the power to either enhance or erase your shape. For pedites or women with shorter legs, a cropped or hip-length cardigan draws the eye to the waistline and creates the illusion of longer legs. For tall women or those with a long torso, a midi or duster style can look elegant and lengthening, especially if the cut is sleek and streamlined. And if you carry curves, the rule is different again. Bulky or shapeless cardigans tend to add weight, while cuts that gently trace the body emphasize the figure in a flattering, modern way. I often demonstrate this with side-by-side outfits, because once you see how the hemline and silhouette alter the overall balance, the difference is unforgettable. The goal isn't to hide behind fabric, but to use it intentionally, letting the cardigan act like a frame that highlights your natural proportions rather than masking them. 2. The layering fail. One of the easiest ways frumpiness sneaks in is through layering. Many women, myself included, used to toss a cardigan over a boxy tee and loose jeans, assuming it created a relaxed vibe. But the reality? All that fabric stacked on fabric turned into excess volume with no definition. It looked like the outfit was wearing me rather than me wearing the outfit. That's why I started being more deliberate about what I put underneath. Today, I almost always pair a cardigan with something fitted as a base. A simple tank, a slim ribbed knit, or my personal favorite, a belted dress that softly defines the waist. And when I say belted, I don't mean tight or restrictive. It's about creating gentle shape. This contrast between a structured base and a softer outer layer makes all the difference. Even if the cardigan itself is oversized or slouchy, the body underneath still shows through. I encourage clients to think in terms of balance. If your outer layer is relaxed, your inner layer should be neat and tailored. If you're drawn to flowy pieces, balance them with a cardigan that's shorter or more fitted. These small, intentional adjustments bring clarity to your silhouette, turning what might have been shapeless into something modern, flattering, and full of personality. 3. The neglected sleeve. When we talk about cardigans, most women focus on length or hemline. Yet one of the most underestimated elements is the sleeve. Believe it or not, the arms quietly decide whether a cardigan looks sleek and intentional or sloppy and forgettable. I can't tell you how many times I've tried on a cardigan that looked perfect on the hanger, beautiful knit, gorgeous color, only to have the sleeves ruin the entire effect once I slipped it on. If the sleeves are too tight, especially in thicker knits, they cling to every curve of the upper arm and highlight areas many women would rather not draw attention to. On the opposite extreme, if the sleeves are overly baggy, they collapse into folds that drag the silhouette down, making everything look droopy and unbalanced. Neither extreme is flattering. These days, I pay attention to 3 things. First, where the shoulder seam sits. It should align neatly, not drop too far down the arm. Second, how the sleeve tapers. Slightly relaxed but still shaped is ideal. And third, whether there's just enough room to comfortably layer a thin top without the sleeves pulling or sagging. A well-proportioned sleeve does more than you think. It adds structure to the entire garment, almost like tailoring in disguise. And when the sleeve length is just right, you gain styling freedom. Pushing them up to expose a bit of wrist adds a touch of elegance. A sliver of skin, maybe with a bracelet or watch peeking out, makes the outfit feel light, modern, and deliberately put together. It's such a subtle detail, but once you notice how much of a difference sleeve fit makes, you'll never look at cardigans the same way again. 4. The hiding instinct. Another styling trick that makes an enormous difference is something so subtle most of us overlook it, showing just a little bit of skin. And no, I don't mean being revealing or uncomfortable. What I'm talking about is the strategic kind of exposure that balances fabric with a touch of softness and life. Think of rolling up your sleeves to let the wrist peek through, loosening a neckline to show the collarbone, or leaving the top button undone so the chest area feels open instead of closed off. For years, I wore my cardigans buttoned all the way up, layered with high-neck tops. Looking back, I realized those outfits made me appear closed off and overly proper. Once I began experimenting with open necklines, scoop tanks, or even a delicate V-neck under my cardigan, everything shifted. Suddenly, the outfit felt lighter, fresher, and more youthful, without me trying too hard. What makes this so effective is contrast. Thick knitwear tends to feel heavy, and without breaks, that weight can overwhelm the figure. But introduce a glimpse of skin, and suddenly the look breathes. A bracelet glinting on the wrist, a watch half tucked under a pushed-up sleeve, or simply showing a forearm adds movement and dimension. It signals ease and energy, qualities we naturally want more of as we mature. I often encourage women to practice small tweaks. Push the sleeves back just 2 inches, swap a high neck tee for a scoop neck, or unbutton the top of a cardigan you'd normally keep fastened. These tiny gestures don't call attention to themselves, yet they transform the overall impression. Once you compare a cardigan worn closed and covered to the same one styled with openness, you'll see how dramatically the vibe changes. Lighter, softer, and infinitely more flattering. The outdated style. Let's talk about trends, a word that makes many women over 50 nervous. I'm not suggesting you chase every fleeting style on social media. Instead, think of trends as quiet signals that keep your wardrobe feeling current. Ignoring them completely doesn't protect you. It can actually age your style without you realizing it. Take waterfall cardigans or those ultra-chunky popcorn knits we all loved a decade ago. At the time, they felt fresh and cozy. Today, they can look dated and overwhelming, adding unnecessary bulk. I held onto one for far too long, always reaching for it on chilly mornings, but every time I wore it, something felt off. When I compared it with newer silhouettes, clean, collarless cardigans, ribbed zip fronts, or cropped styles that sit neatly at the waist, the difference was striking. Updating doesn't mean abandoning comfort or spending a fortune. It means noticing the subtle shifts in texture, proportion, and cut. Maybe you try a soft boucle knit, a ribbed stretch cotton that hugs the body lightly, or an open front cardigan with a sharp line that frames your outfit. These aren't radical trends, they're modern refinements that whisper current instead of shouting outdated. Even adding one contemporary cardigan to your closet can refresh your whole rotation. When paired with your trusted basics, it sends the message that you're engaged with the present, not stuck in the past. It's less about chasing fashion and more about editing wisely, letting a few modern pieces breathe new energy into everything you already own. 6. The slouchy mistake. Now let's address one of the trickiest styles of all, the slouchy cardigan. At first glance, it feels like the perfect answer for cooler days. It's cozy, soft, and seems effortless. You just throw it on and go. The problem is that effortless can quickly tip into careless if the proportions and styling aren't intentional. A slouchy cardigan has the power to look chic and modern, but it also has the potential to look sloppy and shapeless if handled the wrong way. I've fallen into that trap myself more than once. I would pair an oversized cardigan with equally loose trousers, thinking the combination created relaxed elegance. Instead, what I saw in the mirror was fabric overwhelming my frame, pulling in strange places, and making my shape disappear. The result was less casual chic and more like I'd grabbed the first thing off the couch. These days, when I wear a slouchy cardigan, I do it with purpose. I balance the volume with structure. A tucked-in tee, high-rise jeans, or tailored trousers that bring definition back to the waistline. Sometimes I even belt the cardigan itself, turning excess fabric into an intentional silhouette. The hemline is another detail I watch closely. When a cardigan hits mid-thigh with no shape, it can visually shorten the legs and widen the hips. But shift that length or add definition, and suddenly the same piece looks flattering instead of frumpy. I also experiment with contrast in texture and cut. A chunky, oversized knit can look intentional when paired with sleek denim or slim trousers that sharpen the line. Showing a bit of ankle or wrist helps lighten the outfit, breaking up heavy fabric with small glimpses of skin. Even footwear matters. A refined boot or structured loafer can balance the cardigan's relaxed vibe and keep the look modern. The key to slouchy cardigans is remembering that comfort doesn't have to mean shapeless. With just a few thoughtful adjustments, they transform from lazy weekend sweater into an effortless statement of style. Once you see how different the same cardigan looks styled two ways, sloppy versus deliberate, you'll never underestimate the importance of balance again. The cropped cardigan problem. Finally, let's talk about a style I once avoided completely, the cropped cardigan. For years, I believed it made me look shorter and boxier, almost stuck in another decade. Every time I tried one on, buttoned up and neat, I felt it flatten my shape instead of flattering it. To me, cropped cardigans belonged in the don't bother category, especially for women over 50. But one day I decided to experiment. Instead of wearing it closed, I treated the cropped cardigan like a short jacket. I left it open over a tucked-in tank and paired it with high-waisted trousers. The transformation was immediate. What once made me feel cut off at the waist suddenly highlighted it. Instead of appearing old-fashioned, the outfit felt sharp, current, and full of intention. That experience completely changed how I view cropped styles. Now, rather than dismissing them, I use them strategically. Sometimes I'll unbutton the bottom half so the cardigan skims lightly over the waist. Other times, I'll do a quick front tuck with high-rise denim and a simple belt. Small styling tweaks like these turn what could feel boxy into something structured and polished. The lesson here is that it's rarely the garment itself that's the problem. It's how we style it. A cropped cardigan may look intimidating on the hanger, but with the right partners underneath, it becomes one of the most versatile layering tools. In fact, that very style I used to ignore has become one of my seasonal go-tos. When fall comes around, I reach for it often, knowing it adds both shape and modern edge to my outfits. So before you toss out that cropped cardigan hiding in the back of your closet, try giving it a second chance. With a little creativity, it may become your secret weapon too. Cardigans don't have to add years or hide your figure. With the right length, a balanced sleeve, a thoughtful layer, and a touch of skin, they become pieces that frame your shape and highlight your personality. Style is not about age, it is about intention. Wear your cardigan with awareness and you will see how something so simple can feel elegant, modern, and entirely your own.